Good evening. President Bongbong Marcos is studying Health Secretary Ted Herbosa's request to suspend the PhilHealth contribution hike. In a message to reporters, Presidential Communications Office Secretary Chelo Garafil says the president is looking into suspending the hike. PhilHealth contributions are set to increase to 5% in 2024 as part of the Universal Healthcare Law. Herbosa sent a letter to the president on Tuesday making the appeal. According to Herbosa, the state health insurer has enough funds to continue to give benefits, adding it will not be hurt to delay the hike in premium. PhilHealth President and CEO Emmanuel Ledesma Jr. previously said funds are needed to meet initiated changes in PhilHealth benefits. The Department of Agriculture has temporarily banned imports of domesticated and wild birds from California and Ohio in the U.S. because of several outbreaks there of highly pathogenic avian influenza. According to Memorandum Order No. 3, the temporary importation ban covers domestic and wild birds and their products, including poultry meat, day-old chicks, eggs, and semen. The DA says it immediately suspended the processing, evaluation of the application, and issuance of sanitary and phytosanitary import clearance for poultry imports originating from California and Ohio. However, the order excludes shipments that are in transit, loaded, or accepted onto ports as long as these were slaughtered or produced 14 days before California's first avian flu outbreak on November 20, 2023, and Ohio's first outbreak on November 21, 2023. The issuance comes as American authorities informed the World Organization for Animal Health of several outbreaks of highly pathogenic avian influenza subtype H5N1 affecting domestic birds. Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri says the House of Representatives will adopt the Senate's version of charter change. Zubiri says this agreement was sealed in front of President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. in Malacanang. According to Zubiri, House Speaker Martin Romualdez agreed to the proposal, adding that he and Romualdez even shook hands in front of the president. Zubiri and Romualdez were among those who met with the president in Malacanang on January 11 to discuss the fresh bid for Chacha. Zubiri stands firm that there is no need for the Senate and the House to convene together to tackle the proposed amendments to the 1987 Constitution. Senator Risa Hontiveros urges the Marcos administration to review its political commitments with Beijing, specifically the One China policy. In a statement, Hontiveros says the One China policy should be reviewed, noting that China has done far worse things in our territories compared to a congratulatory message to Taiwan. The senator points out that we cannot have the president say one thing while the Department of Foreign Affairs says another. China had criticized the Philippines after President Bongbong Marcos congratulated Taiwan's president-elect Lai Ching-te. Beijing had pointed out that Marcos's remarks are at odds with the One China principle. However, Hontiveros emphasizes that China has no business telling Filipinos what to say or not, the same way they have no right to sail in the West Philippine Sea. Meanwhile, the Chinese embassy asks the Philippines to have a consistent stand on the One China policy, saying there should be no different positions coming from the DFA, the president, and the ambassador. The Chinese embassy likewise notes that President Marcos was the only head of state to congratulate Lai among 182 countries which established diplomatic relations with China. DFA earlier reaffirmed the Philippines' commitment to the policy. It also previously explained that President Marcos's congratulatory message to Lai was only his way of thanking Taiwan for hosting hundreds of overseas Filipino workers. Ako Bicol Party List Representative Elal De Co believes Albay 1st District Representative Eda Lagman should include himself as among the respondents of his own petition against the 2024 national budget, as last year's budget also contained unprogrammed funds. Lagman earlier filed a petition before the Supreme Court questioning the constitutionality of the 449.5 billion peso excess funds in the 2024 budget, which supposedly pushes the annual appropriation past the 5.768 trillion peso ceiling. According to Co, Lagman was part of the Bicameral Conference Committee that crafted the 2023 General Appropriations Act, which also had unprogrammed funds. Co questions if Lagman's claim that unprogrammed funds are illegal is due to his recent exclusion from the Bicameral Committee for 2024. He also asks why complaints are only surfacing when the same Appropriations Committee Lagman headed years ago also passed budgets that contained unprogrammed appropriations. Meanwhile, Lagman says Co should just respond to questions on the constitutionality of excess unprogrammed funds in the 2024 national budget instead of making personal attacks. An international coffee house chain is being reprimanded over its alleged erroneous discount policy for senior citizens and persons with disability. A popular coffee franchise recently found itself in hot water because of its announcement in stores nationwide that seniors and PWDs can only enjoy discounts for one food item and one beverage per visit. During Wednesday's hearing of the House Committee on Ways and Means, Starbucks Philippines Operations Director Angela Cole admits to lawmakers that the advisory was an error as the signage was not properly worded. Cole says they immediately removed the notice and it was not followed.
Originally, it was in response to our employees asking for a suggested approach. For specific to the signage, it was not properly worded, and we are taking full accountability and acknowledge the mistake. And we are really disappointed at the confusion that we had caused because of the erroneous.
Ways and Means panel head Joey Salceda asks Starbucks Philippines to offer a drink and croissant to seniors and PWDs as penance for the alleged mistake. He also warns the company that it may face prosecution for supposedly violating Republic Act No. 9994 or the expanded Senior Citizens Act of 2010. In response, the Starbucks Philippines official says she did not know if it would be possible to give free drinks and food. Rather, she assures the committee that they would be complying with the discounts for seniors and PWDs as prescribed by law. Salceda nevertheless proposes writing a letter to the coffee chain's licensee, Rustan Coffee Corporation, for a formal request, to which Cole agreed.
So as penance,
Sure.
tomorrow, PWD and Senior Citizen Day, will you? So you don't repeat it. Sorry is not enough. Alam mo yung gross nyo is 43%. So in other words, ang add-on nyo is about 60. So that's nothing. At sa uuga-uga na mga to, hindi to makakapunta ng krustan. Tsaka dadami volume nyo, buy one, take one. Eh halos yan, libre na eh. You look at it, you run the numbers.
Here's the latest roundup of today's top stories. Studying Malacanang says President Bongbong Marcos is studying Health Secretary Ted Urbos's request to suspend the PhilHealth contribution hike. Pag-ibig to increase member contributions from 100 pesos to 200 pesos in February. And Senator Risa Hontiveros urges the administration to review its political commitments with Beijing, specifically the One China policy. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Red. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.